As we approach 2023, I do know of many Singaporeans who are conflicted. On one hand, they need to buy a property to stay or to invest in order to hedge against inflation, and yet they are concerned with the all-time high property prices, high inflation, and the likelihood of recession in 2023. In this video, I'll be looking at the past historical trend and give my own personal opinion on the market outlook for Singapore property in 2023 and if it is safe for you to plan to buy a property in Singapore next year. Hi, I'm James Lim, founder of the Property Plus system, and today I'll be sharing the 5 major concerns that Singapore home buyers have and if you should be worried. Now, I believe on the top of everyone's mind is about recession in 2023 and if this will cause a crash into Singapore property. To define a recession is when there are 2 consecutive quarters of economic negative growth in an economy measured by GDP. GDP is measured by the total output of an economy. It is usually related with retrenchment and unemployment. This is because businesses aren't making as much money as they need to, so naturally they have to reduce headcount to lower the cost of operation. Recessions are not uncommon but are very widely in how sustainable they can be. Singapore last experienced a recession in early 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and GDP fell by more than 5%. A recession can be caused by numerous factors. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2008 Lehman Brothers financial crisis caused by the subprime mortgage crisis in the US led to 4 quarters of economic decline in Singapore. Prior to that was the dot-com bubble and 911 recession, which was triggered in part by the increasing interest rate to combat high inflation. Since the Great Depression in 1930, a recession has not lasted more than 5 consecutive quarters. Although Singapore government does not expect a recession, they are still taking several precautions. Firstly, Singapore is building up its reserve through increasing the Goods and Service Tax or GST and also property tax in 2023. With a greater reserve, Singapore are prepared to spend more during recession. This is actually called the multiplier effect to stimulate the economy and to help Singapore recover faster. So here are other information or the past historical trend that Singapore has done to combat against inflation. Moreover, other tactics the government can do is to reduce personal income tax, rebates for property and corporate taxes, and also to reduce the cooling measures for more foreign investors. If you study the table on past recession, there is no clear result on how long a recession can be, as recession is just a technical term of 2 consecutive negative GDP growth. Furthermore, GDP growth can be also bounce back extremely fast. Comparing with the Singapore Property Price Index, the 2 major drops of more than 10% are the Asia financial crisis in 1997 and also the Lehman Brothers global financial crisis in 2008. Typical market crashes where housing prices fall more than 10% have generally been in tandem with deeper economic recessions having only occurred twice in the last 70 years. In my conclusion, not all recession causes property prices to fall. Other factors have to be studied. The 2 main market crashes, which is the Asia financial crisis and the Lehman Brothers crisis, are triggered by high unemployment rates of 2.5% and above, which in turn slow down the economic slowdown. In 2020, Singapore unemployment rate released for Q3 2022 is 3.4%, a decrease of 0.3% from 3 months prior, which saw the lowest rate of 3 months since 1974. Hence, an economic crisis is more impactful to Singapore property market than just a recession. However, if you look into the 2022 Singapore unemployment data, our unemployment has fallen to pre-pandemic level of less than 2%. This is also aligned with the tight labour market and the rising labour costs. The current market environment is also very different from that in the past year, where parts of the economy are struggling for growth. Singapore is still enjoying low unemployment levels of 2%. Having low unemployment reduces the risk of distress. In fact, Since the COVID-19 pandemic in 2022, there has been 3 cooling measures to cool the hot property market. Following the global financial crisis in 2008, Singapore has enjoyed an era of historical low interest rates, which has been both positive and negative. Between 1971 and 2022, the average interest rate or base rate in Singapore has been 4.1%. So in context, the current rate of 3% is still attractive. Despite seeing several rises in 2022, Singapore base rate is still lower than that of Canada and the US by 3.75 and 4% respectively. Furthermore, the number of highly leveraged households in Singapore is now very low following the mortgage review that can be undertaken in 2013. The cap rate of 3.5% has ensured that every citizen taking a loan will be able to absorb an increase of interest rate to 3.5%. Moreover, this year, banks take an additional precaution to increase the cap rate to 4.5% to ensure even more prudent borrowing and to prepare for any further cooling measures by the government. What it means is MAS and banks has ensured that if you were to take a loan and interest rate were to go up to 4.5% one day, you will still be able to take home 45% of your gross income. As the war continues between Ukraine and Russia, energy prices have continued to rise. The increasing cost of powering machinery coupled with a shortage of labor and raw materials such as steel, experiencing significant inflation that has put enormous pressure on the construction activities. Cost of inflation has reached 7.5% by the end of 2022, although it was predicted to hit 9.5%. This has seen many contractors scale back on their development plans, resulting in a tightening of the housing supply pipeline. Houses are no longer able to be built for what they were even 1 year ago. A strong mitigation factor for significant housing prices changes. Unfortunately, I still believe that property prices will still continue to grow in the near future, but not at a fast rate. This is mainly due to an over-demand of residential properties. The over-demand is actually due to 3 reasons. More marriages, an over-demand of BTO flats, and a delay in construction and fewer HDB flats reaching MOP next year. These are the 5 major concerns that current Singaporeans have that are worried in 2023, especially those who need to buy a house for a roof over your head. Your dilemma is whether to buy a resale HDB or condo or to continue waiting out or to rent. My general advice is to wait and see for the next 3 to 6 months on the direction of where the property market is heading. Personally, I would not recommend you to buy a property for short term of 3 to 5 years horizon. Currently, a property should be more for own stay or to hedge against inflation with a holding period of 5 to 10 years. At the current high interest rate, it's better to put your investments in other short-term investments like stocks or treasury bills where the payout of the interest rate is high at this current moment. For a more personal plan, I have to understand your situation first, then I can give a better advice. It is best and most recommended, and it is possible to, number 1, take a deferred payment scheme where you take a loan of only 4 years later where interest rate is lower. Number 2, buy a underpriced properties or property with an old price tag at pre-pandemic pricing. Number 3, search for properties with high growth potential or in location with future growth. Number 4, don't waste your time searching for undervalued or foreclosure properties. There isn't any out there because of the high demand. So if you are interested, drop me a WhatsApp link or click on the link below to find out more. And if you enjoy this video or if you have any comments to share, please click on the subscribe button to get notified of future videos. Thank you and see you in our next video. Bye.